The Life of Robby Keene. Robert Swayze, Robby Keene, is one of the main characters in the Netflix series Cobra Kai. He's the son of karate sensei Johnny Lawrence and alcoholic Shannon Keene. Initially a troublemaker that breaks the rules, Robby begins to change his ways after training with Daniel LaRusso. He becomes the first disciple of the new generation of Miyagi-Do Karate and also becomes one of the best students. Unfortunately, a fight with Miguel Diaz at the West Valley High results in Miguel suffering a spinal injury. Robby is arrested and placed in juvenile detention for assault. Following his release, Robby is left conflicted over where his alliances lay, leaving him susceptible to the smooth-talking John Kreese. Through Kreese, Robby is recruited into the newly reinvented Cobra Kai Dojo, where Kreese makes him the head student. Welcome to the Miyagi-Do. In today's video, we're going over the life of Robby Keene. Before we begin, we publish a new video every week, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Miyagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Early life. Robby was born to Johnny Lawrence and Shannon Keene on February 4, 2002. Johnny was not present when Robby was born. Robby was raised by Shannon for most of his childhood, as Johnny repeatedly neglected him, which eventually caused Robby to resent him. At some point, Shannon began spending more time at bars and with men than with Robby, while Robby became a troublemaker and even a rebellious kid. Cobra Kai Season 1. Robby Keene is the estranged son of former karate champion turned deadbeat Johnny Lawrence and a distant alcoholic mother named Shannon Keene. Due to Robby's estrangement with his father and his mother's perpetual absence, Robby falls into the wrong crowd and quickly becomes a delinquent. He drops out of school in favor of a life of crime, which results in Johnny being pulled back into his life. Johnny attempts to convince Robby to return to school and clean up his life, but the teen harbors resentment and refuses to listen to his father. Their relationship is further strained when Robby sees Johnny hugging his new student, Miguel Diaz. Johnny later reopened Cobra Kai Dojo with Miguel as his prime student. Wanting revenge for the years of neglect and absence, Robby launches a plan to befriend Johnny's rival, Daniel LaRusso. He gets hired at LaRusso Auto Group under false pretenses and slowly forms a relationship with Daniel. Robby even begins to enjoy the work he's doing and develops a strong work ethic, despite his hostility and knee-jerk reactions to otherwise harmless teasing. Daniel takes Robby under his wing in an attempt to teach the misguided teen control. He teaches him Miyagi-Do Karate as a way to instill discipline. He finds a role model and healthy example of an adult in Daniel. Robby also grows close to Daniel's daughter Samantha, and the pair become friends. Sam's relationship with Miguel Diaz complicates their friendship due to Robby's disdain for Miguel and Johnny. Sam and Robby went to a party together where Miguel picks a fight with Robby for arriving with Sam. When Miguel swings at Robby, Sam blocks the punch and is struck by Miguel. The pair breaks up that night with Robby and Sam retreating to the LaRusso residence. When Johnny outs himself as Robby's father, Daniel bans Robby from his home and dealership for lying. He believes that Robby only grew close to him to get back at Johnny and that everything was a lie. With the All-Valley Karate tournament fast approaching, Robby is left without a sensei or a dojo to represent. He decides to use the talent he procured from Daniel to enter alone and earns a spot in the semifinals. He is paired with Cobra Kai Dojo student and bully Hawk. During the fight, Hawk and Robby exchange barbs and belittle one another. When Robby disparages Hawk's mohawk, Hawk attacks him with an illegal kick and dislocates Robby's left shoulder. Hawk is disqualified while Robby advances to the finals despite his injury. He's nearly forced to resign from the competition until Daniel emerges backstage. Daniel had been encouraged by his wife Amanda to help Robby, as she believes Robby had changed. Daniel forgives Robby for his transgressions and decides to help him in the tournament, even finding a doctor for his injured shoulder. Miguel, who held a grudge for the incident with Sam, viciously attacks Robby's injured shoulder. Robby shows positive sportsmanship and tries to help Miguel to his feet, only for Miguel to further injure Robby's shoulder. Robby ultimately loses the tournament, but upholds his dignity, focus, and fairness during the fight, as pointed out by Daniel. With Robby now having reached a positive mental state, Daniel reopens his dojo with Robby and Sam as his students. Cobra Kai Season 2. Robby begins training with Daniel. While training with Daniel, Robby's arm heals and he's able to take off his cast. While shopping with Daniel, they run into Johnny. When Daniel goes to pay, Johnny tries to talk to him, but Robby is still mad at him and he tells Johnny he's having a hard time forgiving him. When Johnny accuses him of trying to torture him by training with Daniel, Robby defends Daniel and says he is a better man than Johnny ever will be. Sam soon joins the dojo and starts training with Robby. Robby's home life isn't great as Shannon soon takes off with some guy, leaving Robby home alone with no food or electricity as bills go unpaid. When Robby mentions to Sam about his mom leaving and Sam tells Daniel, Daniel has Robby come and stay with them. Robby, along with Sam and Daniel, have trouble getting students to join the dojo at first, mainly due to Cobra Kai out-promoting them. However, after some time, their luck changes when a bullied student named Dimitri requests to join and they gladly accept. At the mall, Dimitri is cornered by Hawk and other Cobra Kai members, but Robby and Sam come to his rescue and beat up the bullies. Robby, Sam's, and Daniel's luck further improves when a handful of Cobra Kai students leave because of the vicious teachings and join Miyagi-Do, though Robby and Sam are at first unhappy that the students joining are the ones that tried to beat up Dimitri in the mall. Robby and Sam develop feelings for each other. While Robby initially thinks it's a bad idea for them to date, the two soon realize that they cannot hold their feelings back and start dating. When someone knocks on Sam's door, Robby opens it and sees Miguel. He asks him why he is there, and Miguel says he came to give back Miyagi's Medal of Honor, which Hawk stole when he trashed the dojo earlier. Not wanting Sam to know Miguel gave it back because he does not want her to rekindle with him, Robby hides it in his pocket and later puts it outside so someone can find it, which Dimitri does the next day. Eventually, Robby and Sam agree to tell their parents about their relationships, but put that on hold when they see Shannon in the house. Shannon apologizes to Robby for leaving him and tells him she is going to rehab so that she can get better. Robby and Sam go to Moon's house for a party the night before the first day of school. During the party, Sam gets drunk, and unbeknownst to him, Aisha tells Sam that Miguel returned the Medal of Honor, and a drunken Sam and Miguel share a kiss. After the cops arrive, Robby tells Sam he will take her home, but Sam tells him not to because she does not want her parents to see her drunk. He then takes her to Johnny's house, and the two spend the night with him. The following morning, Robby tells Johnny that he will tell Daniel that it is his fault that he and Sam did not come home. But after Daniel comes into Johnny's house, he tells Robby he has lost his trust and forces Sam to leave. Johnny takes Robby to school, which he appreciates. Before class, he tells Sam that Miguel gave him the Medal of Honor. Sam, who already knew, asks why he did not tell her before, to which Robby replies he was scared their relationship would be put at risk if he did. They kiss and then go to class. When Cobra Kai student Tori reveals that Sam and Miguel kissed at Moon's party, Robby has a shocked look on his face. Tori then attacks Sam, causing Robby to push Tori against a wall and try to stop the fight. However, Miguel arrives and, unaware of Robby's true intention, tackles Robby, which causes the two to fight, and a huge brawl between the Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do students erupts. Robby and Miguel have a long fight. At times, Robby has the upper hand, and at times Miguel has the upper hand. When Miguel tells Robby that Sam loves him more than Robby, an enraged Robby aggressively attacks Miguel and gains the upper hand, but this is short-lived as Miguel recovers, and flips Robby over and traps him in an arm lock. Miguel decides to let him go after remembering Johnny's advice to show mercy and even apologizes to him. However, an enraged Robby attacks Miguel and kicks him off a railing, severely injuring him. Robby is shocked at what he just did. When Sam screams asking what he has just done, Robby runs off from the scene. While at the hospital, Daniel expresses shock over what Robby did to Miguel. At the Cobra Kai Dojo, Hawk angrily tells Johnny that his lesson to Miguel about showing mercy, which Miguel followed by showing mercy to Robby, led to Robby severely injuring Miguel. Cobra Kai Season 3. Robby is on the run from police and officially a fugitive, wanted for the part he played in kicking Miguel over the railing at West Valley High School. The police make urgent appeals to find the boy and show a photo of Robby during a news segment that Johnny watches. He and Daniel decide to work together to find Robby, who has stolen a '93 van from the LaRusso Auto Group. Robby knew that the company wouldn't notice the van was missing as it is a trade-in and nothing flashy. He removes the GPS tracker from the van and ditches it far away from where he ultimately resides. He cuts his hair rather short and appears homeless, in an attempt to be unrecognizable by the police and general public. Robby visits his mother, Shannon, at a rehab center. She gives him a sandwich and reassures him that things will be okay. Daniel arrives and tries to reason with Robby, explaining that he spoke to a lawyer and his sentence will be much lighter if he turns himself in. Before Daniel can explain, the police arrive and Robby realizes that Daniel turned him in. He tries to run but is apprehended by the officers and ultimately handcuffed. Daniel promises to visit every day, but Robby coldly tells him not to bother. He is then sentenced to serve time at Sylmar Juvenile Corrections Center. Robby has a difficult time adjusting to the new lifestyle as he is targeted by fellow detainee Sean. He attempts to stay out of trouble by reading a book and remembering Daniel's teachings. He also refuses to speak with Daniel or Johnny when they call. One day, while watching TV and eating lunch, Robby sees Sam on the news hosting a fundraiser for Miguel's surgery. She mentions that she hopes Robby did not mean to hurt Miguel. However, Sean approaches him and begins to mock Sam for her remarks, and Robby snaps at him to shut his mouth. Sean then challenges him to a fight and attacks him, but Robby counterblocks his punches, though he is overwhelmed by Sean's friends and brutally beaten by the gang. The guards lock down the detainment center and send a battered Robby to the infirmary. But when he returns, Sean takes his pillow and shreds his book, taunting him further. Johnny arranges to see Robby accompanied by Reverend Bobby Brown, but is occupied with Miguel's surgery turnout and misses the meeting with Robby. Bobby tells Robby to give it more time, but Robby refuses as he knows this would be a waste of time. He takes part in community service to make himself eligible for early release. Johnny attempts to talk things through and seems to be following through with his attempts for the first time. He oversteps and grabs Robby's arm, causing him to push his father away and spill the soup he's attempting to serve. When he returns to juvenile detention, Sean mocks Robby, saying he has no one and that both his father and his girl left him. He also vandalized Robby's bed. In the days that follow, Robby's old resentments over his perceived betrayals at the hands of those he came to trust and the overall state of his life resurface. He's visited by John Kreese, who talks to him about Johnny and advises him to defend himself in prison. Robby initially tells Kreese to leave him alone, but is intrigued by the man and researches him. He also checks his email and begins to respond to Sam when Sean unplugs the computer. He challenges Robby again, but a security guard interrupts. The next day, Sean makes a fake friendly gesture to Robby, but Robby, who has reached his limit with the abuse he's been receiving and the mental games from Kreese, retaliates by striking Sean first. They engage in an intense fight, and Robby gains the advantage over Sean rather quickly, though the fight spreads into the halls. Two guards pull the boys apart, and Robby smiles at Sean while bloodied. After meeting with the warden, Sean and Robby both admit to not snitching, which leaves them with a mutual respect. After being released from juvenile prison and assigned to probation, Johnny and Daniel attempt to reconnect with him, but Robby cuts ties with both of them. He goes to the nearby probation office to fill out probationary forms when Tori comes from the office. Robby stands and looks like he is about to attack Tori. Tori warns him not to, and if he fights, he will go back to juvenile detention. He calms down and they exchange insults as Tori started the fight and Robby ended it. Tori tells Robby that she and Miguel broke up a few days ago. She warns him about Sam and attempts to explain that Sam will go to Miguel, but Robby defends Sam. He believes Sam is a good person, but Tori isn't so sure. Before she leaves, she tells him to check the stable box next to home life. After leaving the office, Robby goes to see Sam at the Miyagi-Do Dojo and wants to rekindle their relationship. After being warned by Tori that Sam will go back to Miguel, he walks in on Sam and Miguel training together, and they are in a compromising position. This angers Robby, who believes they are dating behind his back. He harshly insults Sam and accuses her of cheating. He believes that her relationship with Miguel is why she stopped writing, and she counters that he stopped replying. He snaps back that it was hard to write back when he was getting his face busted in daily. She is surprised by this, while Miguel tries to explain that it's not her fault. Things escalate quickly between the boys, and Robby attempts to throw a punch at Miguel. Sam blocks Robby and pushes him away, telling him to stop. Thinking she has been dating Miguel before the brawl, Robby ends his relationship with Sam and tells her that they deserve each other. Later in the night, Robby realizes he doesn't have anywhere to go and ends up in the Cobra Kai Dojo. He sleeps at the dojo and is taken under the wing of John Kreese, though Robby is reluctant to trust the man. Hawk nearly tries to attack him and still has a grudge at him for what he did to Miguel, but Kreese refuses to allow the fight to happen. He is noticed by Tori, who sees him packing his bags. Robby explains that he doesn't belong here. Tori convinces him to stay and makes him realize that running away isn't going to work. Tori then invites him along to a mission with Kyler, Hawk, and some other Cobra Kais. The group breaks into the zoo to steal a cobra for Kreese, but are interrupted by a security guard. The group runs away, but Robby stays to steal the snake. Thinking the mission failed, the group retreats, but Robby appears with the snake. He befriends the Cobra Kais. Kyler calls Robby a natural cobra, but Hawk's anger towards Robby remains. Robby begins training with the dojo and stays relatively focused on his karate training. When Johnny arrives at Cobra Kai after the attack on the LaRusso family home, he sees Robby training with Kreese and is surprised by the alliance. Johnny and Kreese begin fighting as Johnny refuses to rejoin the dojo. With Kreese now wanting to kill Johnny, the fight is eventually stopped by Robby, who defends Kreese and attacks Johnny for being responsible for his suffering and trauma throughout his life. Johnny instantly switches to the defense and refuses to fight his son, though Robby is intent on unleashing his pent-up anger. He shouts that Johnny is responsible for everything bad that's happened and lunges. Johnny blocks Robby's attack and accidentally pushes him into the lockers. He hits his head and goes unconscious, much to Johnny's dismay. Robby eventually regains consciousness just as the fight between Johnny, Daniel, and Kreese is over. Robby stands next to Kreese, much to the shock of Daniel, Johnny, Miguel, and Sam, who have all gathered outside the dojo. Robby coldly tells them all to leave before retreating into the battered dojo with Kreese. He begins his training with Kreese to defend Cobra Kai in the tournament to determine which dojo will stay in the valley. Personality. Initially, Robby is shown to be a troublemaker that skips school, disrespects his father, Johnny, and hangs out with crooks and troublemakers Kev and Trey, watching adult videos on the computer. Robby is quite charming and clever as he cons a man into handing over his computer and password. He has a strained relationship with his father due to Johnny neglecting him for much of his life. As a result of Johnny's neglect, Robby has grown to disrespect and resent him. However, after learning from his mother, Shannon Keene, that Johnny wanted Robby to come live with him and seemingly wants to start a closer relationship with him, Robby visits the Cobra Kai Dojo to talk to his father, only to see him hugging Miguel Diaz. Convinced that Johnny likes his student more than his own son, Robby plots his revenge by getting a job at Johnny's biggest rival, Daniel LaRusso's auto dealership. However, after Robby loses in the finals of the All-Valley Karate Tournament, Johnny apologizes to him, which Robby accepts, implying that he does care for Johnny somewhat. Despite his strained relationship with Johnny, he loves and cares about his mother Shannon, most likely because she raised him. However, he becomes upset when she prefers to be with men instead of spending time with him. At first, he joins Daniel's car dealership in order to get revenge on Johnny, but when he thrives in his job, he begins to enjoy his work. He develops a friendship with Daniel and even changes his ways. He soon begins learning karate from Daniel, which he ends up enjoying. He forms a friendship with Daniel's daughter, Samantha, later in the season, but when he shows up with her to a party, her boyfriend Miguel, thinking she is hooking up with Robby, attacks him, thus starting their rivalry. After scoring a point on Miguel in the All-Valley Tournament, Robby is merciful and tries to help Miguel up, but Miguel instead yanks Robby's injured shoulder. Despite losing to Miguel in the All-Valley Tournament, Daniel commends him for fighting with honor, which Robby appreciates. Thanks to Daniel's influence and positivity, Robby goes from being a punk to a kinder, altruistic individual. Robby and Sam start training with Daniel. After his mom, Shannon, takes off with some guy, Robby stays at Daniel's house. Over time, both he and Sam develop feelings for each other. While Robby initially does not think that it's a good idea for them to start dating, both he and Sam eventually realize they cannot hold back their feelings and start dating, though they don't tell Daniel and Amanda yet. When Dimitri is attacked by Hawk and other Cobra Kai members, Robby and Sam come to his rescue, showing he will stand up for his friends. Both he and Daniel have a good relationship. Robby defends Daniel when Johnny insults him. He even appreciates Daniel for allowing him to stay at his house. However, after Daniel finds out that Robby and Sam are at Johnny's house, he comes to Johnny's house where he forces Sam to leave and tells Robby he has lost his trust, which makes Robby sad. Robby, however, still respects Daniel as he tells Johnny that Daniel was good to him and they could learn something from each other. Despite forgiving Johnny, following the tournament he is still bitter, and at first he is happy that Miyagi-Do Karate will upset Johnny. When they first talk in the store, Johnny calls Daniel a prick, but Robby defends Daniel and says he is a better man than Johnny ever will be. However, after Sam gets drunk at a party and tells Robby not to take her home because she does not want her parents to know that she drank, he takes her to Johnny's house, showing that he still has some trust in Johnny. The next day, Johnny drives Robby to school, which he appreciates. Robby and Johnny seem to be on good terms. While trying to save Sam from Tori and attempting to reason with her, Miguel ends up attacking him, which leads to the school brawl. During the brawl, Robby is pinned by Miguel, who shows him mercy. However, an enraged Robby attacks Miguel and kicks him off a railing, resulting in Miguel breaking his back. Now realizing what he has done, a horrified Robby runs away and attempts to hide from the repercussions. He is scared at the possibility of getting arrested and guilt-ridden over what he did to Miguel. He reaches out to his rehabilitated mother, who in turn contacts Daniel in the hopes that he can help Robby. When Robby realizes that Daniel turned him into the police, Robby feels betrayed by the only positive male figure in his life, even though this was intended to get him a shorter sentence, with Daniel repeatedly telling the cops to be gentle with Robby. During the time he is in detention, he is harassed by his fellow inmate Sean, but still chooses to follow the Miyagi-Do training that karate is about self-defense. He still tries to better himself by serving community service to shorten his sentence, but his anger at Johnny for choosing Miguel over him only escalates. His resentment at Daniel and Johnny continues even after his release from juvenile detention, as he coldly tells Daniel and Johnny to leave him alone. After witnessing Miguel and Sam together, he ends his relationship with Sam as he feels betrayed yet again. His lack of home life stability and conflicting emotions leaves him open to the poisonous ways of John Kreese, who shows Robby an outlet for his rage. He begins to corrupt Robby's thought process to the point where Robby joins Cobra Kai and fights his father in the defense of Kreese. Fighting style. Under Daniel's training, Robby develops into a smart and well-rounded fighter. When he is able to maintain focus, his style revolves around a solid defense and counter-striking, which is evidenced in the semifinals and the finals of the All-Valley tournament. However, when his emotions get the better of him, he can become blindly aggressive. His techniques mix solid basics with the occasional high-risk spinning or serial move. According to Daniel, Robby is naturally talented, and this seems justified as he is able to execute Mr. Miyagi's double-leg handstand kick after only hearing a description of it. Furthermore, despite an injured shoulder, he is able to put up a tough fight in his final match against Miguel. In Season 2, Robby improves his fighting style and skills with Daniel's training. By becoming a better and more skilled fighter, he is able to fend off several Cobra Kai students and put up a fight against Miguel during a school brawl. However, his emotions still get the better of him at times, resulting in him fighting more aggressively and blindly, which is evidenced during the school brawl where he aggressively attacks Miguel when he says that Sam loves him over Robby, and after Miguel lets Robby go. However, the latter attack results in him kicking Miguel off the railing, severely injuring him and rendering him unconscious as a result. Despite being a highly skilled fighter, he doesn't have it easy when fighting opponents who are just as strong and skilled as him. Sam is able to counter him when they practice during training, although they later appear to be evenly matched. After putting up a good fight against Miguel in the school brawl, the latter manages to eventually flip him and put him in an arm lock. When Miguel lets go and apologizes, however, Robby beats Miguel by attacking him, similar to how Miguel pulled Robby's shoulder when he tried to help him up at the tournament. Despite his injured shoulder putting him at a disadvantage and causing him to lose to Miguel in the All-Valley tournament at the end of Season 1, he came close to beating him, showing that Robby was the better and more skilled fighter. In Season 2, despite beating Miguel by kicking him off the railing, he could only do so when Miguel, who had pinned him to the ground, showed mercy by letting him go, showing that Robby was the inferior and less skilled fighter at the time. While in juvenile detention in Season 3, Robby still maintains his skills, which he is able to use to fight and gain the respect of his bully Sean. Later on, when he fights Johnny, much after he is released from detention, he goes against what he learned at Miyagi-Do by fighting with hate. However, the more skilled and experienced Johnny counters his strikes before accidentally pushing him into the lockers. Robby doesn't seem to have gained more skills in Season 3 due to him having been locked up for most of the season, and joining Cobra Kai just near the end of the season. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.